And today we're gonna work on page number, let me see, 67. Yeah.
Okay. 67. 67, 60,
This is the
60.
reading part. Part 8. The
60.
multiple matching. This is a little bit boring and a little bit tiring as well because we have to decide what is the paragraph that every single statement corresponds to.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hard to forward mention again.
Okay, let me know when you're ready, okay?
Yeah, give me a second.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm ready. I just will skip for a moment.
Okay, so here we go. Okay, we have to read The Art of the Biography. What is the future for this literary genre? Asked Catherine Hughes. Okay, so please, let's give it a go to the first paragraph. Letter A. A few years ago.
Okay. A few years ago, I wrote a piece in which I declared that biography, if not quite dead, was in very poor, yeah,
Yeah.
condition. I was concerned that for far too long, publishers had been churning out inferior version of Amanda Foreman's excellent Georgina, Duchess of Devonshire, which had deserved being a hit. That works. The endless imitation Georginas, however, showed all the tendencies that the critic Janet Malcolm has identified as the mark of so much biographical writing, a sense that as long as the facts are there, it doesn't matter how badly they are set out. The biographies Malcolm had in her signs were written in Leiden prose and Italic, a marathon through from crowd to grave. I hesitate before telling people I was a biographer. It feels
Tandemode.
tantamount to admitting that I was a journalist incapable of original to what a new vocabulary.
Tonio. Okay. Yeah, that is okay. So first of all, I would like you to tell me if you don't understand some words that is for sure that you're not going to, in order to get a whole context of the paragraph. Okay.
Mhm.
For example, in this case, the word that you were like having trouble with the pronunciation was tandemon is very useful. It means tandemon to admitting. It means first of all the verb pattern is tandemon to, and then the verbs with
Mhm.
ing. As you can see here, are admitting. Tandemon means equivalente a admitir.
Mm.
Equivalente tandemon.
Nope.
For example, you can say speaking English is tandemon to speaking French, for example, something like that.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay. Any other word that you would like to know, or maybe another phrase?
Okay, let me see. Quiet, poor condition, a concern that for publishers, no. Deserved, no. Endless imitation, show tendencies, identify marks, and metric, no, no, no. We're writing. Leading prose.
To leaden. Where is that word leaden?
The part of the biographies Malcolm had in the signs were written in leading prose and entailed.
Written leaden. Okay, in this case, leaden means the material, plomo, the material. Okay, they are
Mm,
written in leaden, están escritas en plomo.
mhm.
Yes, that is leaden.
Okay.
Yes, in leaden prose. In entailed. Have you ever heard about that word, that verb? Actually, that is a verb. Entailed.
Mm. Eh, no.
That you are involved in
Mm,
something. Yes, that is entailed, but in a C1 level. So we could say that it's involved in B2 level and entailed in C1 level.
Okay, just let me write it. Entailed.
Yes, entailed more than trudged from cradle to grave.
Entailed is just like
Implicado, involved,
mhm,
trudged.
take part,
Yes,
right?
take part in something like
And
implicado.
another one is tantamount.
Tournament, yes, equivalent. Do you know this phrase that is a marathon trudged from a cattle to grave?
A marathon track from a candle to rave. Nope.
It means that you have a lot of problems when walking towards the grave. Entonces sería
Mm,
caminar con mucha dificultad desde la cuna, o sea, desde el nacimiento, ¿no? Hasta la muerte sería
hasta
hasta la
la
tumba.
tumba.
Yes,
Okay.
that is the meaning of that phrase. And I guess no more, right?
No, this is a weird.
It is because it's
Yes.
written like in a metaphorical way, as you can see here, as you can realize.
Mhm,
It is about the genre of the art of biography.
That is weird.
Hmm. This kind of vocabulary is not that, how can I say it? It's not so common that we can use it in the everyday or daily basis speaking, but it's necessary to know this vocabulary because of the certification, okay?
Hmm.
Yeah. So let's do glimpse into the answers, okay?
Okay.
Number one, it says a biography being based around items that would have been meaningful to the book's subject.
Mm,
Una biografía puede estar basada en
yeah.
ítems que habrían sido significativos al sujeto del libro. It's kind of weird, this text.
Yeah, there is so weird this text. The first paragraph is so confused.
Hmm.
It's quite confused, right? That was very poor. I was concerned. Yeah, it's like talking from the first person, but like a projection.
Yes.
Yeah, that
Okay.
is weird.
Okay, let's do this. We're gonna read all of the paragraphs, and then we have to try
Hmm.
to infer what is the sentence that corresponds to every single paragraph. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So I'm gonna go with the letter B. But it turns out that biography wasn't in terminal decline after all. It was more that I hadn't been looking for it hard enough or in quite the right places. Last weekend, the University of East Anglia hosted a conference at which the Masters of Biography took its pulse. They made a joint diagnosis that is, in fact, in good health.
Mm.
What has happened, this expert practitioners explained, is the biography has changed its shape. The shape has emerged from a growing sense the biography, as it used to be done, was not getting us too close to the experience it was trying to describe. So we all know that life isn't actually compromised, of a steadily march through, or interesting in this case, decades in which loose ends, false trails, and those periods where nothing much happens are tided away, out of sight. Mostly of our lives feel shapeless, coming into focus, sorry, only when a particular occasion makes us feel, for a few minutes at least, fully ourselves.
This one was easier to understand, but the first one was weird.
Yeah, especially because of the vocabulary. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
So please,
Okay.
the letter C.
Yeah. Letter C. One new approach to biography employed the presenting of something small to tell a bigger story. Frances Wilson demonstrated how effective this can be in How to Survive the Titanic. She focuses on the moment when G. Bruce Ismay, the ship owner, jumped into the lifeboat while other first classmen allowed women and children to take the available spaces, pressing hard on Ismail's split second decision to leave to safely. Sorry, Wilson tells a story not just about one man's lost honor, but about a larger drama of class, nationality, and technological modernity. Another approach is to organize your narrative around objects that carried a particular emotional charge for the person you are writing about. In the real Jane Austen, for instance, biographer Paula Bayer pulls out an East Indian soul and courage that figure in both Austen's personal experience and her fiction, and waves a new narrative around them. Amanda Foreman uses yet another approach in her last book. In A War on Fire, she tells the story on American Civil War by using scores of microbiographies. Dealing with all these characters demonstrates her extraordinary degree of technical ability. While in classic single subject biography, it's clear where you need to go next. In group biography, you are required, like a circus performer, to keep many plates spinning while making it all look effortless. That's interesting.
Yes. Okay. And finally, let's go over the next paragraph, and then we have to find out what are the answers. Okay. Other biographers have realized that their subjects, not even eventful schooling or the long holidays by sea, can be compressed into a few terse paragraphs so they can spend more time on the bits that matter. It is an approach showcased brilliantly by Matthew Hollis in Now All Roads Lead to France. I guess that is a book. Hollis
Mhm.
concentrates on the defining moment when the Anglo-Welsh writer Edward Thomas gave up his unfulfilling journalistic career in favor of poetry. He had never quite got round to making it under the pressure of the looming war. Thomas finally became the kind of writer that he was meant to be, producing poetry that would change the music of the English language forever. It would be disingenuous, right, to claim that since that is new ways of telling lives are entirely driven by intellectual concerns. The pressures are commercial too. People also have shorter intention spans, which means that those doorstep biographies of 400 pages, can start to seem like a looming threat rather than a delicious promise. Yeah, because they are not to live so long.
Mhm.
But more and more interesting books are being published which deal with lives of others. They may not announce themselves as biographies, but that doesn't mean they are not. Okay, so based on that, we have to figure it out what are the answers. Number two,
Okay.
Hugh's confession that he was once reluctant to reveal the nature of the job. He was averse
She
to do it. He was averse to reveal the
confessed
nature
that
of the
she
job.
was once regret to reveal the nature of her job. Letter
Okay,
A?
letter A, yes, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
letter A.
Letter A,
Mhm.
actually, let me see. Yeah, number two, letter A. Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, letter A, let me cross it out here. I'm gonna take just a little while. Okay, perfect. Okay, number one, a biography being used around the items that would have been meaningful to the subject. Okay, a biography that was written based on some items that could be meaningful for the person that wrote the book, I guess, right?
Yeah, maybe letter C or letter D, but
Letter C is in this
letter
case.
C. Yeah, letter C.
Yeah, letter C. Okay, perfect. Number three, Hughes' admission that she had been wrong about the state of biography as a genre.
Hmm.
Mm,
I think that is letter D.
okay, it
Oh,
says the admission that he was wrong. So he admitted that he was a little bit wrong about the state of biography as a genre. But at the end, it turned out to be real, right?
mhm.
Turned it out to be real. Okay, let me let me say that the answer is letter B.
B.
Number three, letter B. Okay,
Mhm. Ah, okay.
okay. To make the most of the time, I would like you to show this. You just take a look at this. As you can see here, these are in this part that I highlighted in red. It's like
Mhm.
the clues that can lead us to read to reach or to find out what is the right answer.
Mhm.
Okay, let me show you here. Okay, let's analyze one by one.
Okay.
As you can see here, number four is letter D. Let me
Mhm.
say why. Letter D. It says, question four. Okay, it says, the possible reaction of readers today towards biographies they consider oversized. Okay, so first of all, I would like you to tell me if you know what is the word oversized because that is so important to get the meaning of the sentence.
Ah, the readers. Yeah, the readers. What? The possible
The
reaction
possible
of readers today towards biographies they're considered oversized, like overacted, like
yes,
there is.
yes, 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 sobrevalorados.
Yeah.
Mhm. So the possible reaction of readers, but today, nowadays,
Mhm.
towards them. So I don't know. Yeah, it is letter D, but in this case, it's like, let me see. Yeah, it's specifically it is here in this part. But it turned out that biography wasn't in terminal decline after all. Is that biography has changed its shape, its form, its ways. So in this case, the shift has emerged from a growing sense that biography, as it used to be done, was not getting us close to the experience it was trying to describe. So it was more than that. You see? It makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah. So number five, as you can see here, is letter D. The advantage in recording the most interesting parts of a subject's life. Nos dice la ventaja de tomar. Okay. In this case, is letter D. Letter D. This is the paragraph. Non-eventful schooling or the long holidays by the sea can be compressed into a few terse paragraphs, so they can spend more time on the bits that matter. It's more than that. Under the pressure of looming word, Thomas Fainall became the kind of writer he was meant to be, producing poetry that would change the music of English language forever. And also, yeah, that is why.
Mhm.
So we have to skim. In this case, the paragraph suggests that the skimming over kind of less interesting aspects of the subject's life. It's like it goes deeper. Number five, number six.
Mhm.
Number six is the paragraph B. The view that the traditional structure of a biography doesn't accurately reflect reality. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
B. Okay. Yes, it's here. But it turns out that biography wasn't in terminal decline after all. It reflects something else, something different. That's it. Number number seven. Letter C. The skill required to produce a biographical type book that features multiple subjects. Yeah. I remember that in the paragraph C was mentioned about the skills that are needed in order to do this.
Mhm.
Yes, you see, dealing with all these characters demonstrates her extraordinary degree of technical ability. Yes. Number eight, the stimulus of a biography subject required for finding their true vocation. Letter D. Let's see, it's here. Yeah, that is the vocation of
Under
man,
pressure.
Thomas Final. Yes. And finally, number number nine. Sorry, a specific event being used as the focal point in a biography that deals with wider issues with more complex issues. It's in letter C. Oh yeah, it is here. Pressing hard on the split-second decision to leap to safety. In here, Wilson tells us a story about a man who lost the honor, but about layered drama. It's like it involves a lot of plot in here, a lot of issues that they have been to be with. Okay, so yeah, in number 10, huge contempt for a trend she thought he had detected. It's in paragraph A. What is a contempt, my dear David?
A
What is a contempt?
contempt, a contempt, huge contempt for a trend she
I guess that
to.
you will come as a surprise. This word will come as a surprise for you. Because this word contempt means desprecio, and it's very useful
Mm,
as well. So here's contempt for a trend she thought she had detected. Desprecio que tenía es esa tendencia que ella pensó que había detectado.
mm,
It is mentioned in the paragraph A. A few years ago, I wrote a piece in which I declared, yes, all tendencies had that the critic Jane Malcolm has identified as the mark of so much Battlefield, but the sentence alone said their facts. It doesn't matter how badly they are set out. It is here. And in the part that it
mm,
says I hesitated before telling people I was a biographer because I felt tantamount to admitting that I was a journalist incapable of original thought. So he was
mhm.
hesitating about that. Okay, and that's it. It was a little bit weird, these texts.
Yeah, this text is kind of weird.
But I guess, and I hope so, that in the exam they are not going to appear like this.
Yeah, I'm kind of sure that it's not that always in that way.
It is because this kind of books, they're ready for B2, for for C1 and for C2. They are very demanding. So
Hmm.
they're very demanding, and that is why they include this kind of very complex vocabulary.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go over the Unit 5, sorry, getting on. In this part, we're going to learn about reference, substitution, and ellipsis. This is very useful when it comes to writing, like, for example, poetry.
Mm,
How to make inferences and as well metaphorical situations, as well the relative clauses in the verb noun collocations, and vocabulary regarding relationships. Okay, so please tell me, what do you get on best with your in your family? Sorry,
what do I get on best? What does it mean?
don't you get the question?
No, be the best in something.
¿Con quién te llegas? Perdón, ¿con quién te llevas mejor en tu
I
familia?
get on. Yeah,
Yes.
I'm sorry.
What
Yeah,
do you get on best
what do you
with
get on best with
in your family?
my family?
I guess with
Well,
all of them, right? I guess.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. Uh, at the first glance, it could easily to shape that I can get on well with all my family, but specifically with the people who is in the same range of age that me, it's easier to get a fluent conversation, maybe too loud for the same stupid jokes,
Yeah.
or just try to figure out the same scenarios to maybe uh,
Do you
hang
have
out.
brothers? Do you have brothers, right? Or maybe brothers
No,
or sisters?
I don't have brothers. I just have my little sister, but we have a kind of good relationship.
How
Yeah, but
how often do you fall out with her?
mm, that is normal. We are trying to hang out every
No, no. The
weekend.
question was how often do you fall out with her?
Ah, mm, yeah, I think try every day.
Really? Every day? Do you have arguments every day?
Yeah,
Pelean todos los días.
yeah, but there is not kind of that big
Yeah. It's
fighting.
like a very irrelevant arguments, right?
Yeah, that kind of irrelevant little
Yeah.
stripes.
Yes. Is there a time when your whole family likes to get together? Specifically, for example,
Mm,
in New Year's Eve or maybe Christmas. At Christmas, I don't know. Is there any specific
mm,
time with your whole family?
my whole family. That is interesting and maybe a little blue, due to the fact that that was normally that in Christmas, as you mentioned, we try to pass together that special date, because my grandmother was actually a good, how to say it, a good host in the big house that she had, but she passed away the past 2 years ago, and that was kind of sadly due to the fact that before then, sorry, after that, we haven't meeting again my complete family. But that was a specific time when we was normally when we used to do that.
Okay. Tell me, my dear Joe. I hope so. Are you the kind of person who likes meeting new people? For sure.
Yeah.
Especially in my case, girls.
Yeah, that's cool. But I am the kind of person that is trying to always keep in contact with different person. That even if I am not in the best moment, or if I am feeling blue or kind of down that day, I am always trying to appear or look like I am in the best moment. But actually, there is a specific moments when I don't want to be close to another whoever. There's when maybe it's easy to describe when I get out to the job, that 2 first hours after that there is kind of stressful for me, and maybe mm, when stay for a long time with people, maybe I don't know, and they are not in the same lines with my ideologies or with my mindset, and that is normal. Yeah, that I'm trying to skip up some moments.
All right. Is it better to have a few close friends or a wider circle of acquaintances?
Hmm. That's interesting. That there is normal that some people say that I look that I could be easily the best friend of whoever, because my personality is so funny, and even you feel the confidence to tell me whatever, or well, then that is the people normally say it about me. But for me that is easy to choose the specific people that I want to be close friends, and even that is like
Okay, I guess in some cases it could be better at some extent. For example, if you have a wide circle of only acquaintances, it could be like convenient. For example, if you want to get a job or maybe to get on board into a convenient situation for you. For example, trying
yeah.
to get money or trying to for example to get hired when it comes to this kind of the professional issue. It
Yeah,
could be better. But in
and
some cases, for example, when it comes to emotions or feeling or trying to feel better, it is essential to have very honest
mhm.
and loyal good friends.
Yeah, I love the loyal friends. Yeah, there is how to say it, there is so important for me that amount to choose the career it was, because when I choose my best friend, I always try to be a people who I expected to be in the future, even when I am so low.
Yes. For example, in my case, being completely honest, I never ever, I have never realized that, for example, you and me could have had like the friendship that we have right now. Because at the
Mm-hmm.
very beginning, I thought you were like we were not meant to be compatible. We can say like this,
Yeah.
but you know, because time goes by and you start to get on well with people close that is close to you, and some good friendships start showing
Yeah,
up.
that's cool. And even we are entangled in
Yeah.
different things.
Yes. in here is it is entailed a lot of things. Perfect.
Entailed, yeah, entailed in
How
different.
important, finally, how important do you think it's to meet up with friends in person, not only in virtual settings?
Yeah, that by my part is so important. Was well, that is not so important in this moment. Nowadays, I think it has decreased a lot. But recently, I was thinking that was so important to keep that connection that we start with my dear close friends. But with the pass of the months and even the years, the situation was complicated and even more and more, and there is difficult to keep in contact face to face. You know,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah. But how important I think that is, yeah, at least once per month it's important to meet out in order to gossip something, even to share ideas, to share what is happening, to actualize the news.
Okay, perfect. Okay, now let's go over the speaking part to the long term, as you know. Let
Hmm.
me zoom it out this, and please don't forget to use speculating and comparing language.
Hmm.
Okay, and the question is here: what might the problem be in this kind of relationships? Because
Hmm.
for sure there is a problem in this kind of
Hmm.
relationships. How easy might it be for these people to find a solution? Because, for example, in the first paragraph, it seems like those women have just recently had an argument, and the other one, for example, it seems like those those guys are being told off by their mom.
Hmm.
And in the number three, I don't know what is happening here.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, for example, in my case, I would choose one and two, but it's up to you. Okay. So please go ahead.
Okay. uh, Regarding the first picture, I can see a typical situation when you have a bad understanding with a friend, and you start to fight for something that is maybe even could be stupid, Whereas the second is like the typical normal treat that you have with your brothers, sisters at home, where one wants to maybe use the computer, or someone wants to watch something specifically, and the rest of those are not in the same area. Yeah.
Mhm.
For final, the third one is like a situation where you are trying to setting up the camp, and you are struggling all in order that you having the same understanding, or you can complement the idea that your friend, and you are just doing something that is unproducent. Yeah. There is there is the things. Yeah. First of all, how I see is to solve these problems. Yeah. uh, it's highly probably that in the first one, the is the most easy way to find a solution, due to the fact that it is just a normally question to discuss, to have a good conversation where you can find the words to say sorry or whatever. The second one, easier, could be the brother sister, the sibling fighting, when you can just try to discuss something where you can find a middle, yeah, where all of them could feel good, or try to find a specific point where all of
Yeah.
them can maybe see the same. And the more difficult, and the most difficult, sorry, it's the third one, where you are not able to think fastly because the camp is complicated, and even the night is arriving, and you want to solve it because people is normally tired. Yeah, that is the most difficult.
Perfect. Thank you so much. You did it so well. Okay, so basically, all in all, the first data step is basically communication. So yeah, in
Hmm.
order to find out a proper and a suitable solution for this kind of
Hmm.
hardships. Okay, perfect. What else do we have here? Now, let's go over the listening part three. This is the multiple choice.
Okay.
You're gonna hear like an interview. This is about two films makers.
Mhm.
You have to decide what is the right answer, A, B, C, or D, according
Mhm.
to what you hear. You're gonna listen twice and then we compare. Okay? Let me look for the audio. It's here.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. It's sorry. Let me go back. 5.1. Okay. Okay. Here it is. So there we go.
You will hear an interview in which two filmmakers called Simon Bridges and Megan Ward are discussing their work on a series of documentary films. For questions 1 to 6, choose the answer A, B, C, or D, which fits best according to what you hear.
Today, I'm talking to Simon Bridges and Megan Ward, who've been working together on the documentary series Fly on the Wall for 20 years. Simon, the fifth film in the series is released next week. There's already a lot of excitement about it. As the director, how do you explain its continuing popularity?
Look, when we started, all the participants were young kids. We filmed them playing with toys, talking about arguments with their school friends, and telling us about their dreams. We let them speak for themselves, rather than offer any kind of academic analysis. And we've taken that approach ever since. It's the same participants, 5 years older in each film, answering the questions we put to them. As you watch, you see the things they face every day as adults. Strained relationships, money problems. The series celebrates that. The way normal people sometimes have to make a heroic effort just to survive the day. That strikes a chord with audiences. They relate to it and really want to know how things are working out for the participants.
How did you choose the children who would appear in the series?
For the first film, we aimed to explore the impact of privilege and wealth on a child, how those things might shape their future, compared with children from less fortunate circumstances. That informed the decisions I made. Some children were happy to chat, at length, actually, and some were extremely shy. It didn't matter. And some things the children said were very humorous, very charming. That wasn't always apparent to me when we were filming.
Is there anything you wish you'd done differently for the first film?
Well, directors always reflect on what they could have done better. I think what we did do is provide a genuine snapshot of the very different lives of the children. We weren't setting up artificial situations. The focus is on the children, but there are snatches of conversation with siblings, moments when family members or the dog suddenly wander into camera, because everything's essentially going on as normal. We missed the opportunity to get the children together, to see how they might have got on, that's true. But I feel we shielded them from the media, because too much exposure at that age can be very damaging.
Megan, you've been the main camera operator for the entire series. What have you learnt from this experience?
Well, I've seen some of those kids in the first film undergo some major transitions in life. They've all just turned 25, and yeah, a few have married and settled down. You'd expect that, wouldn't you? And then some are still working out what direction to take, going from job to job, travelling. But you know, when we were making this last film, I realised that I'd made all these assumptions about the kids when we first met them aged 5. I'd looked at them, and I guess subconsciously thought, yeah, you're sharp, you'll probably end up in business. You're the cheeky one, you'll probably end up in trouble. And that introverted one will probably never leave his hometown. And, it hasn't worked out like that at all. I think the participants have forged their own paths, regardless of how they started out.
After 20 years, how would you say your relationship with the participants has changed?
The dynamic has changed, certainly. When they were small, I suppose it was their parents that pushed them into appearing on camera, and there are some scenes that the participants, now they're adults, do actually find embarrassing and wish we'd edited out. But Simon and I genuinely have their interests at heart, and I'm very glad they've come to realise that. They know I won't edit the film in a way that misrepresents them. And it's like a family, to be honest, like nieces and nephews. You're close with some and not with others. So in between the films, we do catch up occasionally.
You obviously have an extremely successful working relationship with Simon.
I mean, we don't see eye to eye on everything, but the thing is, he's the director and I'm behind the camera. I wouldn't question Simon's way of doing things, and he wouldn't interfere with mine.
Well put. We would never presume to step on each other's toes. Sometimes after a day of shooting, we might have a heart-to-heart about things that are bothering us, if we feel things didn't go quite right, but that's more about letting off steam.
You will hear an interview in which two filmmakers called Simon Bridges and Megan Ward are discussing their work on a series of documentary films. For questions 1 to 6, choose the answer A, B, C or D, which fits best according to what you hear.
Today I'm talking to Simon Bridges and Megan Ward, who've been working together on the documentary series Fly on the Wall for 20 years. Simon, the 5th film in the series is released next week. There's already a lot of excitement about it. As the director, how do you explain its continuing popularity?
Look, when we started, all the participants were young kids. We filmed them playing with toys, talking about arguments with their school friends, and telling us about their dreams. We let them speak for themselves, rather than offer any kind of academic analysis. And we've taken that approach ever since. It's the same participants, 5 years older in each film, answering the questions we put to them. As you watch, you see the things they face every day as adults. Strained relationships, money problems. The series celebrates that. The way normal people sometimes have to make a heroic effort just to survive the day. That strikes a chord with audiences. They relate to it and really want to know how things are working out for the participants.
How did you choose the children who would appear in the series?
For the first film, we aimed to explore the impact of privilege and wealth on a child, how those things might shape their future, compared with children from less fortunate circumstances. That informed the decisions I made. Some children were happy to chat, at length actually, and some were extremely shy. It didn't matter. And some things the children said were very humorous, very charming. That wasn't always apparent to me when we were filming.
Is there anything you wish you'd done differently for the first film?
Well, directors always reflect on what they could have done better. I think what we did do is provide a genuine snapshot of the very different lives of the children. We weren't setting up artificial situations. The focus is on the children, but there are snatches of conversation with siblings, moments when family members or the dog suddenly wander into camera, because everything's essentially going on as normal. We missed the opportunity to get the children together, to see how they might have got on, that's true. But I feel we shielded them from the media, because too much exposure at that age can be very damaging.
Megan, you've been the main camera operator for the entire series. What have you learnt from this experience?
Well, I've seen some of those kids in the first film undergo some major transitions in life. They've all just turned 25, and a few have married and settled down. You'd expect that, wouldn't you? And then some are still working out what direction to take, going from job to job, travelling. But when we were making this last film, I realised that I'd made all these assumptions about the kids when we first met them aged 5. I'd looked at them, and I guess subconsciously thought, you're sharp, you'll probably end up in business. You're the cheeky one, you'll probably end up in trouble. And that introverted one will probably never leave his hometown. And it hasn't worked out like that at all. I think the participants have forged their own paths, regardless of how they started out.
After 20 years, how would you say your relationship with the participants has changed?
The dynamic has changed, certainly. When they were small, I suppose it was their parents that pushed them into appearing on camera. And there are some scenes that the participants, now they're adults, do actually find embarrassing and wish we'd edited out. But Simon and I genuinely have their interests at heart, and I'm very glad they've come to realise that. They know I won't edit the film in a way that misrepresents them. And it's like a family, to be honest. Like nieces and nephews. You're close with some and not with others. So in between the films, we do catch up occasionally.
You obviously have an extremely successful working relationship with Simon.
I mean, we don't see eye to eye on everything. But the thing is, he's the director and I'm behind the camera. I wouldn't question Simon's way of doing things, and he wouldn't interfere with mine.
Well put. We would never presume to step on each other's toes. Sometimes after a day of shooting, we might have a heart-to-heart about things that are bothering us, if we feel things didn't go quite right, but that's more about letting off steam.
All right, let's take a look at the answers. Okay, let me see. Let me see where it is. Where is this? It is here. Can you see?
Okay.
Number 1, letter C.
Sí.
Number 2, letter
Sí.
3, B. 4,
Mhm.
A. 5, C. And 6, D.
Okay.
How many right answers did you get out of 6?
5.
Right. Okay. Perfect. It was most of them.
The one that I don't have is the letter 5. She appreciates the trust they have placed in her. Yeah, well, I suppose that, yeah, the other that was not so difficult.
She appreciated the trust they have placed in it. Okay, now let's go over. We're gonna skip this part. We're gonna skip because we have practiced right now the multiple matching in the previous unit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't consider it would be necessary, but what is really necessary to do right now is that you take notes of the following vocabulary, verb plus nouns collocations that I'm gonna provide you with. Okay.
Okay.
Break down this vocabulary. Okay. These are kind of like fixed expressions, collocations that are common used together. So the first one, as you can see here, is arguments, right? Discusiones. It is not about only arguments, for example, in a debate, arguments, but it's also discusiones. For example, we use this kind of vocabulary, okay? Avoid arguments. That is one. Avoid arguments. Another one we have peace is make peace. Have you ever
Okay.
heard about make peace? Hacer las paces. Make peace. For
Make
example,
peace.
let's imagine that we have had an argument. We have had an argument, and I say, okay, Diego, please, I want you to make peace with you. Okay. Yeah. So then we have resolve differences. Resolve differences.
Resolve differences. Okay.
Then we have declare. That is a new one, I guess, for you. Declare a ceasefire.
Now
Have you
cesa el
ever heard about
fuego.
this?
Sí,
Yes.
like
Declarar un alto el fuego.
stop. Ajá, alto el fuego.
Yes. And finally, we have find common ground. Find common ground. Encontrar cosas en común, ¿no? Puntos en común con alguien. To find a common ground. For example, let's say that you're in the new at work, right? And you're trying to find common ground with your colleagues, right? Something like that. Okay. Then we have in the next part. These are phrasal verbs actually. Okay.
Yeah.
What is the phrasal verb build up?
Build up, like
It means increase. That is
increase them, yeah.
Increase.
Build up.
Then we have a spark of. Have you ever heard about this phrasal verb?
Build up. A spark of. In which context is used?
In this case, is just the meaning and definition of this phrasal verb is cause to happen. Cause to happen something. Yes, spark of. We use it in order to express that you have to cause that something happens. Okay. Then we have give up on.
Give up
Give up
on.
doing something, it's something different. Dejar de hacer algo.
Mhm.
But in this case, give up on means to stop hoping or expecting that a relationship with your brother or maybe another person will improve. Okay,
Mm,
that is give up on. Then
okay.
we have the next one that is move out.
Move out.
Move out, it means to leave home, to leave your
Mm,
house in order to find somewhere else to live.
mm,
Yeah, that is. And finally, we have fallout. Fallout with someone. This is the phrasal verb that I told you some minutes ago. That means to argue and no longer communicate with each other. Tener, pelearse, ¿no? Fall out with.
mhm.
Fall out with, okay? And as we have like 10 minutes, I would like to provide you with this explanation that is very useful. I love this part of this part of the grammar because specifically ellipsis. Because if you know how, if you master this kind of grammar,
Mhm.
it will allow you to write and to speak in a more sophisticated way. Specifically, for example, if you like to write poems or maybe like this kind of weird texts, like the reading that we have read right now.
Mhm.
Okay, okay. This is about reference and substitution. Okay. Number one,
Okay.
we have the this demonstrated pronouns this and that, this and those. In this case, these words can be used to refer back to previously stated people, stated things, or
Mhm.
stated events, or maybe stated ideas. In this case, this and this and these are more common than that and those. But let's
Mhm.
go over first with this and that. This and that can be used before nouns or on their own themselves. For example, it is like it is a narrative text. And he left the school at 16, and in order to avoid repeating the first or to evoke this to refer to the past fact that was mentioned, we say that this decision, for sure, that is in brackets, that is intrinsic, didn't please his parents, right? Just like this referring to the decision that he left the school at 16, right? Then we have he hated the school, and that is why he left at 16. In this case,
Mhm.
we're providing with the reason why he decided to left the school at 16. Then we have this and those, and these are more commonly used before nouns. For example, the mobile phone and the computer, these two inventions have revolutionized communications. Or maybe another example, it could be like uh, during the 30s, in those days, of course, people didn't have computers. Or maybe another one says, you've got so many toys, let's get rid of those, specifying to those many toys that you don't play with anymore. Okay.
Mhm.
Number two, a number of other words can be used to substitute and avoid repetition of previously used words or phrases. It is specifically when it comes to speaking, when you don't know how to say or what to say, and you can use this. For example, do, the auxiliary verbs do, does, or did can replace a verb. For example, Paul didn't want to go, but I did. It means that you wanted to go as well. Or maybe do, so can also be used to replace a verb, but in this case plus an object in the sentence. For example, he told her to lock the door, but she had already done so, right?
Mhm.
Ella ya lo había hecho, sí. Then we have so, nor, neither, plus an auxiliary verb plus a subject. It goes like this.
Mhm.
She likes those, and so do I. Have you ever heard about this? Yes, right?
Mhm. Ah, so do I. Like I do.
Yes. Or maybe I have never been to Paris, and nor or neither has he. Ni tampoco él. He has been to Paris either. Then we have so, not, in order to replace at that clause after expect,
Mhm.
after specifically after the verbs expect, hope, seem, suppose, or think, specifically after these verbs. Is he coming? I think so. I don't think so. Do you think it will rain? I
I
hope not.
hope not.
Right? Or I expect not. Or I
Mhm.
expect so. It depends, right? It
Mhm.
depends if it is positive or negative. Then we have an important note here. It is important that you notice here that don't think so is more common than I think not, right? It is not
Mhm.
so common to say I don't. I think not. Say I don't think so. For example, if not so to replace the whole clauses. For example, are you free on Friday? If so, si es así, do you
Mhm.
fancy going to the cinema? If not, how about the next day, the next week? Or maybe
Mhm.
one or ones to replace countable nouns in this case. What sort of ice cream would you like? A plain one or one with chocolate? In order to say an ice cream with a plain ice cream or an ice cream with chocolate sauce. Okay,
Mhm.
replace one or ones. Those red apples are much tastier than these green ones. We use it like this.
Mhm.
So far, so far, do you have any questions regarding this part?
No, that is not complicated.
Okay, then let's go over ellipses, and that will be it. Ellipsis involves omitting words to avoid repetition. For example,
Mhm.
and number three, it is common to omit words after in and but. These kind of connectors. I live in work in Madrid. Instead of saying I live and I work in Madrid, right?
Mhm.
Just say I live and work in Madrid. John was impressed, but I wasn't. But impressed is intrinsic in brackets, okay? John was
Mhm.
impressed, but I wasn't. We play tennis on Saturdays and sometimes on Sundays in order to repeat we and play one more time,
Mhm.
right? Then you have the main verb can be omitted after an auxiliary verb. For example, I will do it myself if I could. If I could do it myself. She said she would phone it, but she hasn't. She hasn't done it yet. She
Mhm.
said she saw her there, but he can't have. Right?
Mhm.
In some cases, adverbs can be replaced before an auxiliary verb. For example, can you turn the heating on? I already have. Right? We already
Mhm.
avoid repeating this. Or maybe the verb be in this case cannot be omitted after a modal verb. For example, is the shop open yet? It might be. We cannot say it might, just like that. No, we have
Okay.
to write the verb be. It might be. Or for example, could you help me open the door, please? Oh, yeah, it could be.
That could
You
be.
don't have to omit the verb be. Now, what happens with being, the past participle of the verb be? In this case, being can be omitted in a perfect passive tense, except after a modal verb. For example, has she been promoted? Yes, she has. Like
Yes.
the short yes no questions, right?
Mhm.
He wasn't sent to prison, but he shouldn't have been. In this case, we cannot omit been because we work with along with
We
modal
should.
verbs. Yeah,
Mhm.
that is okay. We're reaching the final part. Instead of repeating a full infinitive expression, we can just simply use to, the preposition to. So I
Mhm.
don't need matches now, but I used to, right?
Mhm.
Something like this. Or maybe clauses, for example, especially in, like, for example, in conditionals, can sometimes end with a question word when the question is obvious. For example, we need to solve this problem, but I have no idea how to do that, right?
Mhm.
Maybe apparently the meeting has been cancelled. I heard, although I am not sure why. In this case, we
Mhm.
use the question words why, when, how, what, and all
Mhm.
of them, and which and whose as well. And that's it. Okay, that's it.
Mhm.
It is all about replacing and substitution and ellipses as well. So the next lesson we continue with this part. That's
Mhm.
going to be like we're gonna get into practice these grammatical points. Okay, and that's it for today, Mater. Digging.
Okay, thank you, Paul.
Yeah. Okay, so let me turn on my camera. I am having problem with my. Do you know maybe a good person, a good professional that can help me with my computer because it's like the camera sometimes works, sometimes doesn't work.
Mm, well, yeah, I have a friend, but that even she's in Quito.
Can you get me? Can you provide me with the contact maybe?